In this lesson, we are going to discuss writing prepositional phrases in Latin. A prepositional phrase begins with a preposition. Like in this example, around is the preposition. A prepositional phrase also includes an object of a preposition. The object of a preposition is the noun which completes the idea of the preposition. What do we mean by that? Well, take this prepositional phrase, for example. If I put it into a sentence, I might say that the horses are running around. What are they running around? Are they running around the farmer or are they running around the fields? And of course, the answer is that they are running around the fields. So, fields completes the idea of the preposition. Also, inside a prepositional phrase can be included nouns that show possession, like farmers, and even adjectives that might describe the object of the preposition. Now that we understand something about the parts, let's talk about how we use our knowledge of Latin and inflections to write the prepositional phrase. First of all, we begin by writing the Latin preposition, circum. The vocabulary list tells us that the object of the preposition, which we've already identified as fields, must be written in the accusative. We know from the S on fields that it is plural, so we must write this in the accusative plural form. Now that means that we need to identify the declension of the word field. The reason that we have to do this is because when I look at my noun chart, like I have here, if I go to the accusative plural row, I notice that I have the endings as, os, a, es, and e. It's like an A, B, C, D, E multiple choice question. Which one of these accusative plural endings is the correct one to use? To determine which one is the correct one, I have to know which column to pick the ending from. Do I pick second declension masculine? Do I pick second declension neuter? Do I pick first declension or one of the third declension columns? In order to know which one, remember that we look at the genitive ending to help us decide what declension the noun belongs to. So when I come back here and look at field, I see that the genitive form of the noun ends with the letter I. And if I check my noun chart, the letter I is for second declension. There are two columns for second declension, a second declension masculine column and a second declension neuter column. To know which gender my noun is, I have to look at the nominative form. So let's go back and look at ager. It ends with the letter R. When I look at my chart of noun endings, I see that the nominative R is in the second declension masculine column. That means that I will add the inflection os to the end of the word fields. To add the inflection, we get the base of field by dropping the genitive ending, which is I, and then we simply add the inflection, agros. What shall we do with farmers? Farmers is not the object of the preposition, so it does not need to be written in the accusative case. The apostrophe S on farmers tells us that it is showing possession. And when we want to show possession in Latin, we write the genitive form. Remember that on a vocabulary list, it is the second entry word for the noun that is the genitive or shows possession. So this is what our prepositional phrase would look like. You could write the words in the same order that you would see them in Latin and put agricolae right after circum and then write agros at the end. Both variations are correct. Now let's look at this example. Here we have the prepositional phrase across the sea. Across is the preposition and sea is the object of the preposition. We know from the vocabulary list that our noun, sea, must be written in the accusative case. And I know that sea is a singular noun, so it must be in the accusative singular. This means I must determine the declension of my noun. I look at the genitive ending, maris, to determine my declension. And now I want to go to my noun chart and look at the genitive row to find out where the is is. And here I see it in the third declension columns. One column of endings is for masculine and feminine nouns, and the other is for neuter nouns. Third declension nouns have the gender told to us. This is a neuter noun. And I'm looking for the accusative singular ending. So I go to accusative singular. Singular endings are on the top. And I go to the final column, third declension neuter, all the way down to accusative singular. And I see the abbreviation SAN, which means the same as the nominative. When I look at the nominative box, it says varies, but that confuses me. And then I remember that the nominative ending, or the nominative form of the noun, is the same as the first word on the vocabulary list. So Mara is not only the nominative form, but it is also the accusative singular form. And so the prepositional phrase across the sea is trans mara. Now let's write the prepositional phrase through the towns. I begin by writing my preposition pair. I notice that the word towns is plural and that pair must take the accusative case. So that means that I need to use one of the endings on this row, the accusative plural row. But I have to find out what declension, first, second, or third, my noun is from. And remember, to do that, I'm going to look at the genitive ending. Well, the word town is oppidum oppidi, and the genitive ending is the letter I. So I see that the genitive I ending is for second declension. Now I need to determine if it's masculine or neuter. So I'm looking for R or US on the nominative form to make it masculine, or UM to make it neuter. And when I look at the word for town, I see the letters UM on the end of it, and that makes it neuter. So that means that the inflection I want to use on town is the letter A. To add the inflection, I must first get the base of the noun by removing the genitive ending I, and then I will add the inflection A, which is the accusative plural. Through the towns is per oppida in Latin. Without the gods' help. We start by using the preposition sine, which must be followed by a noun in the ablative case. In our prepositional phrase, the object of the preposition is help. So I must write the word help in the ablative case, And it must be singular because the noun help in English is singular. Here is the noun help on my vocabulary list, auxilium auxilii. I notice that the genitive ends with the letter I, and that's what will help me determine the declension. Second declension nouns have a genitive ending with the letter I, but is it second declension masculine or second declension neuter? How will I know? Oh, look! The ablative singular ending for second declension is O. It doesn't matter what the gender is. So I can just get the base of my noun and then add the letter O to it, and I have the ablative singular form of help. Now, what should I do about the word gods? Do you notice the apostrophe? That makes it showing possession. But why is the apostrophe after the S and not in front of it? It's because the word gods is plural. So I want the plural possessive. On my noun declension chart, that means I'm going to use one of these endings on the base of the noun, aurum, orum, or What declension is the word God? It ends with the letter I, and by now you might remember that when I see I, I'm looking at second declension. And notice again that whether the noun is masculine or neuter doesn't matter. The genitive plural ending is the same, orum. So I will write the base of the noun by removing the letter I from the genitive and then add the genitive plural ending. It is okay to write this prepositional phrase in this word order where gods comes after without and the word help comes at the end of the prepositional phrase. It is never acceptable to write help or gods in front of the preposition. The preposition must always be written first.